Imagine you're building something gigantic. You have satellites, computers, steel cranes, GPS, and yet you fail. Your islands sink before they're even finished. Your megacity in the desert sand gets halted before it even begins. And then you look back, 4,500 years, to the pyramids of Giza, 12,000 years, to Göbekli Tepe, the oldest megalithic structure on Earth. And some researchers say it could go back even further, much further. Erosion patterns on the pyramids suggest an age that could exceed 24,000 years. Monuments built in a time when we believe humans were just learning to grow grain. Stones carved with a precision our modern machines can barely reproduce. Structures that endure for millennia, while our own projects collapse before they even open. The question isn't, how did they build this? The question is, who built this? And what if extraterrestrials were here? Beings who came, taught, and left. What if the answer is one we refuse to accept? If this question fascinates you, subscribe to Wonderworld Mega for more knowledge and history in this style. 2.3 million stone blocks. The heaviest weighs 80 tons, the weight of a fully loaded freight train, hoisted to a height of 160 meters, without cranes, without engines, without steel cables. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built around 2560 BC, or so they say. Nobody was there. Everything is theory. But the numbers don't lie. The base of the pyramid is level to within a few centimeters, across 5 hectares. Its alignment to true north deviates by less than 1/20th of a degree, more precise than the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, built 4,000 years later. Then, the joints in the king's chamber. Granite blocks, cut so exactly that you can't even slide a blade between them. Granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth. Worked with what? Copper chisels. That's like trying to cut steel with butter. And the shafts. From the king's chamber and the queen's chamber, narrow channels lead through the massive masonry to the outside. Ventilation shafts, they called them. But ventilation for whom? The chambers were sealed. Nobody was breathing in there. Some researchers believe they point toward Orion, toward Sirius, as if the blueprint required astronomical knowledge accumulated over millennia. If you're enjoying this story, subscribe to Wonderworld Mega for more knowledge and history in this style. And then the Grand Gallery, 7 meters high. Walls that corbel course by course until only a narrow strip of light breaks through at the top. No mortar, no reinforcement. The stones hold through their own weight and through a structural calculation that engineers still don't fully understand. Quotes from structural engineers of the 21st century. "We couldn't build this better today." The official theory, ramps, thousands of workers pulling the stones up. But what ramp holds 80 tons? A straight ramp would need to be over 1 kilometer long and require more material than the pyramid itself. A spiral ramp? Not a single piece of archaeological evidence, not one. In 1978, a Japanese team attempted to build a small pyramid using ancient methods. They failed. A French team managed to move a 15-ton block with wooden sledges and ramps. It took hours. For a single block. The Great Pyramid has 2.3 million. Something doesn't add up. And now comes the question you might already be asking yourself. Do you want to know if extraterrestrials built this? If there's evidence that science ignores? Then listen closely right now. Because the answer doesn't lie in Egypt. It lies on the other side of the world. 3,800 meters above sea level. A narrow valley in the Peruvian Andes, enclosed between peaks that touch the sky. Here stands Chavín de Huántar, a temple you've probably never heard of. And that's exactly the problem. 50,000 square meters were artificially leveled, at 3,500 meters altitude, without machines. The main temple measures 70 by 72 meters, monoliths that don't come from the surrounding area. They were transported over mountains and through ravines, for kilometers. And then the stonework. The stelae of Chavín are made of diorite, one of the hardest rocks on Earth. Diorite can only be worked with diamond, and yet, cut so precise that modern sculptors can barely reproduce them. Fine lines, complex reliefs, interlocking patterns, all carved into stone that dulls every chisel not made of diamond. Diamond tools? Never found. Not here. Not in Giza. But the truly uncanny part lies underground. Chavín has a system of subterranean tunnels and chambers that to this day has not been fully mapped. Several stories deep, precisely hewn stone blocks, and ventilation shafts. Shafts that channel fresh air into the deepest chambers. Shafts that used mirrors to direct sunlight into the darkness. Do you recognize this? Ventilation shafts. In an underground structure, thousands of kilometers from Giza, but with the same solution to the same problem. Then the Lanzon. 4.5 meters of white granite carved into the shape of a stave, bearing the image of a being. Cat-headed, human body, snakes growing from its head. It stands at the exact intersection of the passageways. It faces east, along the temple axis, as if the entire labyrinth were built around it. And the acoustics. Researchers from Stanford University measured it. The chambers are built to amplify and distort sound. A voice at the entrance sounds like the growl of a god at the end of the corridor. The walls produce something researchers call diffuse acoustics, sound from everywhere and nowhere. Whoever stood in these tunnels didn't hear a voice. They heard something that seemed to come from the walls themselves. No predecessors, no prototypes. The technology of Chavín appears fully formed, as if someone brought the blueprint. Just like in Giza, now it gets uncomfortable. Because now we have to talk about the question everyone thinks, but almost no one says out loud. What if it was extraterrestrials? Let's think this through. Not as science fiction, but as a hypothesis. The way every scientific theory starts as a hypothesis until it's proven or disproven. If beings from another planet were here, how did they arrive? The most obvious answer: they came from the sky. And now look at the ancient records. The ancient Egyptians spoke of gods who descended from the sky. The Sumerians wrote of the Anunnaki, beings who came from the heavens and brought knowledge to humanity. The Chavín culture worshipped beings with cat-headed faces and snake hair, hybrid creatures, half human, half something else. And worldwide, on every continent, you find the same stories. Gods who came from the sky, gods who taught, gods who built. Coincidence? Maybe. But thousands of cultures that knew nothing of each other tell the same fundamental story. Beings from the sky brought knowledge. Then the next question: why did they leave? If these beings were here, why did they build monuments and then disappear? One possibility: they were never here to stay. They came, gave knowledge, and left, like teachers who leave a school when the students have learned enough, or like engineers who hand off a project and leave it to the operators. Or, and this is the most unsettling possibility of all, they lived among us, alongside humans, long enough to teach, long enough to build. And then, one day, they were gone, and all that remained were the stones. And the myths of gods, everywhere in the world, in every culture. The same story. Is that proof? No, but it's a pattern. And ignoring patterns isn't scientific, it's convenient. Now let's look forward, at us, at what we build today. The Line, Saudi Arabia's mega project, 170 kilometers of mirrored glass city in the desert, $500 billion budget. The vision: 9 million people living in a single linear city, no cars, no emissions. The reality? In September 2025, construction was halted by its own financier, Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Only 2.5 kilometers had been built, out of a planned 170. The project is effectively dead. Engineers calculate that cooling alone would consume more energy than all of Saudi Arabia produces. The mirrored glass facade would incinerate birds. The desert would be uninhabitable, not because of the heat, but because of the structure itself. Or the Palm Islands in Dubai. $12 billion of sand dumped into the Persian Gulf. Palm Jumeirah, Palm Jebel Ali, the World Islands, colossal artificial islands built with the finest materials and the most advanced technology humanity has ever possessed. NASA satellite data shows Palm Jumeirah is sinking at 5 millimeters per year. Erosion is eating away the coastline. The islands, built for eternity, are crumbling in decades. Palm Jebel Ali sits abandoned. The World Islands, a ghost town at sea. And now, turn around. Look at Giza. 4,500 years, earthquakes, desert storms, looters, and the pyramid stands. Look at Chavín. 3,000 years, Andean storms, erosion, earthquakes, and the galleries are intact. The ventilation still works to this day. We build with steel, concrete, satellites, computers, and our projects sink before they're finished. They built with stone, copper, rope, and their monuments endure for millennia. Explain that. Not with, they had more time. Not with, they were more capable than we think. Explain it with the tools that were found. Explain how you work granite with copper. Explain how you hoist 80 tons to 160 meters without a crane. Explain how diorite is cut without diamond. You can't. And archaeology can't either. Maybe it's no accident that the stones are silent. Maybe it's no accident that the tools are missing. Maybe that's exactly the clue. The absence of an explanation is itself the explanation. So, was it extraterrestrials? I'll tell you what I believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is what the stones say. And the stones say, there was knowledge here. There was technology here. There was a precision that doesn't match the tools we've found. That's not speculation. That's measurement. That's fact. Maybe it was a lost civilization, older than any we know. Their traces lie beneath the ice, beneath the sand, beneath the water. Maybe it was knowledge that was lost, passed down by beings who came, taught, and left again. Or maybe our ancestors were simply better, smarter, more capable than anything we're willing to admit today. But one thing is certain. The official explanation isn't enough. The tools aren't enough. The theories aren't enough. And while our own mega projects are sinking in the sand, literally, the monuments of the past stand and say nothing. And in their silence is the loudest question humanity has ever asked. Who were they? What did they know? And did they really leave?
If questions like this captivate you, stories that challenge the official narrative, places the history books can't explain, then stay right here with Wonderworld Mega, because the past is darker than you think, and the truth is still waiting to be told.